This is Create the Next from ProCFO Partners, where every week we explore strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help today's businesses put their financial picture in context.
Hi, I'm Chris Billiff. I'm here with Pat Coriacatapani from ProCFO Partners. And today, Pat, I wanted to ask you about startups. And in my experience, a lot of startups, even if they're just starting their business, but especially if they've got an eye for fast growth, sometimes they aren't giving the necessary thought to the role of the CFO. Maybe they've got some principles in play, and those are multidisciplinary and multi-talented people. They often try to carry, I think, too much weight by themselves. I wonder if you agree with that, that perspective.
I totally agree with that. And it's primarily because they don't usually have too many resources, and they may have a partner or one or two key people, but that's pretty much it. And generally they don't really know what it takes to run a business. They know their product, they have a vision for where they're going, but they don't understand how important it is to have a support structure in a business to help them, grow from where they are to, where they see themselves in the future.
And that's what's interesting is they start with a great idea and maybe some finesse or some natural talent, but it's the rare person who can also understand how to manage the intricacies of business while also being a visionary like that. How do you find that gets in the way of a startup's ability to literally start up when they're not building the infrastructure around them to succeed from the get-go?
Very often an entrepreneur looks at what they're doing, their idea, whether it's for a service or a product, and they think that just by letting people know their idea, that they'll get everything that they need. And that's totally not the case. I mean, it's a rare exception when that happens. And to have, it's really very important to have someone like a CFO within the framework of the business so that they can help guide them through all the different challenges that they're going to have. And unlike the old days when a CFO was just considered a guy who might help them manage their cash or find some cash, a CFO does a lot more things these days. I mean, we're very multi-dimensional, and I have lots of marketing experience and raising capital, with working with investment banks or venture capitalists, or just doing whatever it takes. I ran my own business for many years, so that was totally unrelated to anything financial. I actually owned a milk company. I was selling a new milk product, among other things. So I know what it's like to worry about your payroll for next week, or things that ordinarily you wouldn't get involved in. So you have someone on your team that can support you. They can take away all the stress that goes along with the things that they don't really understand. At the same time, put you in a position where you might be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve.
Now that's interesting. Tell me a little bit more about what I might ask a CFO to do, because part of my problem when I'm starting up and my resources are so limited, as you point out, is I have to be really thoughtful about the investments that I make, especially in the talent and in the people around me. And I think that there's a disconnect, that obvious disconnect of investing in somebody else who's really great at that frees up your ability to do other things that you're really great at in the company. But all I'm thinking about is this the right move? So what can I help? Like, can you help me build a pitch deck? Can you help me find venture capital? Can you help me approach and build relationships with VC if that's where I'm going? Or what are some of the other ways that I don't need to complicate my life anymore because this person can keep an eye out for me?
Absolutely. And those are really important areas that you just mentioned. I mean, if a startup needs money, and which one doesn't, they may not even know the steps of what it's going to take to get money. They probably never heard of a pitch deck. Very, very often they haven't. We used to call it a presentation, but now it's a pitch deck. And essentially that's what it is. You're pitching your product. Now that's their opportunity to shine. But as soon as someone is interested in what they're doing, they want to see the numbers, and they want to see not how much you have in the bank. They want to see what your plans are. How are you going to get from where you are right now with this great idea? How are you going to get that to market? How are you going to make it successful? How are you going to get other people interested in it, whether it's a customer or other money people? What are your plans for the future? How are they going to make money at it? There's a lot of questions, and most entrepreneurs don't realize the hurdles that they're going to have to jump through to get, to that point where they can have people invest in their company and risk their money, with them. So the CFO can really help them understand the landscape that they're going to be entering and lay out all the things that have to be done and help produce them all. So that if for example, if I as a CFO walk in with the guy who's got these great ideas, immediately that guy has more credibility. Because if they have questions, all those questions, I have all the answers. And hopefully he'll be able to express most of them. But if not, I'm there and I've created the plan, helped him create the plan with his ideas. I've put a rationale behind the business. Why is this business important? Why is it going to make money? How is it going to make money? And how are you going to succeed as investors? All of that, just the fact that I'm there can help that person get through all those hurdles with a lot greater ease than if I wasn't there. And because then it's left to their discretion after that. And if you don't make the presentation properly, you haven't got a chance.
And not only the public-facing stuff that you're describing, which is so valuable, but knowing that makes my business so much stronger. Like my own sort of use case for the business and my own business plan and my own revenue model all becomes much stronger when I've answered some of these essential questions that you're asking that might be outside of my area of even interest. And so even beyond the logistics of actually starting up, it sounds like that guidance just helps me build a more sound foundation for why this business exists and how it can succeed in the future.
That's exactly right. And it clearly helps them to understand their own goals and their own objectives in maybe some more quantitative way than they're used to thinking about it. But just having those discussions, helping prepare a business plan, it does exactly what you said. It gives them an understanding of where they're going and what they're doing. And you've got to feel a lot better about yourself and about your business if you can see what the ultimate results could be on a piece of paper. And once you understand that, if you didn't have enough confidence before, you're certainly going to have it afterward. And that's a really key item that a CFO can help bring to the table for any startup or any fast-growing company for that matter. Because a company can start, they could be doing really well, and they're growing so quickly that they're destroying themselves. They can't keep up with the growth. They can't build fast enough. They can't, they don't have the people in place to do the things that they need to do. So again, where a CFO who's helping them prepare a plan can really help because they can anticipate many of the things that are going to happen, and they can have a plan in place to help them grow. Where are you going to get all the people you need? How many people do you need? All that stuff can be thought of beforehand. How much money is it going to take? What about inventory? Where are you going to put all this stuff? Et cetera. Understanding the competition is another area that very often an entrepreneur doesn't really think about. But they're out there, and they're not going to be happy if you're succeeding. So you better be prepared for that. And how do you do that? Easily. You understand what they're doing, and you understand how you're different from them, how you have a better product, or what are your competitive edges. I mean, all those things, if they're all outlined and understood, you can do a lot of things. You can, number one, really express what you're doing to everyone, whether it's the public or the customer or the investors, whoever it is, and you can be prepared to change and adjust to a situation very quickly if you anticipate what could happen. And they don't have to have all of that on their head. They're out there trying to just sell their product or build their business. You have the CFO to worry about all of those things. We're not just an overhead position. We are really a dynamic and integral part of any young startup or any business, but especially when you're at that formative stage.
That's something that was in mind for me as you were sharing that was imagine how much more achievable and better organized your 1, 3, 5, whatever your goals are, even your long range exit strategy, when from the beginning you have guidance from somebody who understands how to ask those questions, why the importance of those questions, how to get the answers to those questions. I think that is really strong advice. Is there one or two things that you consistently see startups or fast growth, young companies doing wrong?
There are a few things. I mean, very often an entrepreneur falls in love with their product. And that's great that they're passionate about it, except that it makes them make very poor decisions if they're left, unguided. For example, they think they have the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they want $3 million, and they're willing to give up, 10%. And they don't understand that on the day that they're asking for that $3 million, there's no tangible evidence that their company is worth anything. So for them to get any money at that point without giving away everything is a success, but you have to make a case for it. You have to understand that having a product is good, even if it's a completely it's intellectual property, so you have the exclusive rights to it. Even if that's the case, there are people that have much better distribution deals than you, and the ability to get something out there 50 times faster than you ever could. So that's what you're dealing with. If somebody sees what you're doing and they want to make some version of it and get it out there, you're not going to have a chance if you're up against Google or Facebook or anybody. I mean, any large entity. So an entrepreneur can generally move faster than them, but they don't have the resources to carry it out. I mean, a classic example is, and these are again with two big companies. You had Sony producing a Betamax, and I can't remember who did the American version. Maybe it was at RCA. I can't remember who did it, but whoever it was, they had a much better distribution arrangement in the United States than Sony. So here was it really was a superior product, but they couldn't get it on the shelf, at the same speed and level that let's say it was RCA, that RCA was able to do it. And so they never really captured this market. And those are two big entities fighting over it. Imagine a startup trying to deal in that environment. It's very tough. Now not that you can't do it, but you have to understand what you need to get there. Like, who do you need to align with before you enter that market? It's great if you can have a big player behind you. It helps you get in faster. It helps you get in with more, let's call it panache or something. Just you get in there and you can make a splash and you can make something happen fast. Everybody wins. Everybody wins, even if you have to give away a little bit more to achieve that.
Fascinating stuff, Pat. I really appreciate the idea that we need a little more pragmatism, because you're right. Entrepreneurs, it's like an extension of themselves when they start a business, and they burn all the candle ends at all the hours to try and create this thing. And it's helpful when someone can say, that's a great idea. Let's remove our emotions from it for a minute, and let's look at some of these things objectively and see where the opportunities are and where the opportunities are not, and where someone else has better or bigger opportunities, and what we can do about it so that we can succeed and find our niche. And I really like the idea that a CFO can offer guidance in that. And if we get past that idea that all they did was sort of figure out money coming in and money coming out, there's so much strategic advantage to having somebody who is great at those things at your side as you're starting to try to build and grow and launch something special.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they don't, I think, as I said, people think of CFOs as accountants or bookkeepers or something in the financial land that they don't really get. And it's not the case at all. I mean, I've been a CEO, a COO, a CFO. I worked for major corporations. I was the head of strategic planning for the retail banking division of Citibank. I've done all that stuff. I know what it takes. I know how to deal with bureaucracy. And don't kid yourself. Even if you're a startup, if you're out in that world trying to raise money, you're in a bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And you have to know the rules. And if you don't, you're not going to get there. There's always an exception, but that's not what's normal. What's normal is you're going to struggle, and they want to see you struggle if they're going to invest in you. And so you have to show your passion, show how what you're doing and show that you understand what it's going to take to get you from where you are now to make me, the investor, happy. And that's really the bottom line. That's a big issue. Now, once you have the money and you're up and running, and as I said earlier, you have to deal with the growth and the competition, and the investors wanting more or less, or getting other people in, or doing your second raise, or whatever it takes. You have to be ready for all that. You can't do it if you're spending all your time where you should on building your business. You need somebody to handle everything else, and that is a CFO more often than not. And that's the role I like to play. I love to take smaller companies and help them grow, and get them. And once they're growing, help them to get through that fast growth period without any, well, I can't say without any hiccups, with few hiccups.
Far fewer hiccups. And I mean, that passion and enthusiasm is infectious. So much great advice, Pat. Thanks so much for spending time with us today and talking through some of these issues that the startups, I think, can really benefit and value from understanding better the role the CFO can help them in success. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one today. Visit ProCFOPartners.com for more strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help you put your business's financial picture in context.